Mr. James.
What is it, Jerry?
Yeah, well done. Come and see something.
What?
Just open it up. I want you to check by yourself. Page 3. Check out your file. See what's it. Yeah, I just came to inform you.
What is this now? Why would they just make up a policy and change things like this? You just want to force things or not? They just sit down somewhere and force something on everybody. Why? It's going to affect us. It's going to affect the company. I don't understand this though.
Hello, this is Lipward's channel where you find enterprise solutions. It's another beautiful day of another episode of HR Tackles. I am your host, Funke Medu. You're warmly welcome to this exciting show that educates, discusses, debates everything related to employment, labor, and human resource practices from different perspectives. Today we'll be looking at a very interesting topic, organization policy review. Organization policy review. You see, organization review policies for different reasons, and organizations have different policies guiding the different aspects of their operations. According to powerdms.com, they gave highlights of why organization review policies, based on some surveys they've done. From their statistics, 69% of executives are not confident that their current policies are enough to meet future needs. Another revelation from their statistics shows that only 27% of CCOs believe that the compliance function has a change management process in place to identify a change management that is required and needed to incorporate the required change for that organization. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this show today. And today, to discuss this interesting topic, I have two VVIPs, very, very important personalities and experienced people in the field of business and HR practice. With me today on the show to debate and discuss this interesting topic, I have Mr. Bolorunduro Otunyi.
Thank you for having me on board.
An HR practitioner. I also have here Mr. Laja Shoniro.
Thank you, viewers.
An experienced business manager and business consultant. Yes, let's start with Mr. Otunyi Bolorunduro.
Policy, as it is simply a guiding principle for the organization to shape the direction of the activities within the organization so that things will flow in the normal direction.
Thank you, Mr. Otunyi. So, Mr. Laja, from your own point of view, do we need to have policies in place?
Thank you, Funke. It's very important to have policies in place to avoid people acting in different ways, actually. It helps to guide the conduct of employees, it helps to guide the operations of the organizations, and it also helps to portray the organization as the name suggests, as an organization that is well organized.
Okay, all right, thank you. So the cocoa of the matter today, the real point is that if you listen to Mr. James, there was a policy that came out. So we're going to address the point of Mr. James, because it was like, why would they just make policies without carrying the staff along? And that's what we want to look at today, that in making policies for organization, should we include the staff, the employees in the policy making process? So Mr. Otunyi, typically, do you think that we should put them when we are making policies? So looking at it from a management point of view, you are making it for them. I'm sure if we all have our ways, who wants to be regulated? I'm sure we like to have free hands, right? So it's like someone will say, so these people that we want to regulate how we want things to work. So what do you think are the impact, or what do you think might go wrong if we get organization, or if there's no staff yet at the point of starting the business? So just tell us how this concern that some staff say, oh no, we need to be carried along in charting the organization policies.
Yeah, thank you very much. For an established organization, I think in a board where policy had to be made, we already have a voice for the employees, which is the HR manager, who will be speaking the mind of the employees over there. So I don't think we have to bring
town hall meeting.
Yes, bring in a staff representative as if we are in the National Assembly or sort of. But the representative is already there.
He's already there.
Yes.
So HR can do. Okay, Mr. Laja, did you hear that? We don't need a National Assembly. There's no town hall meeting. Don't worry, you already have HR representing your interests there. So do you agree?
I do agree with that. Actually, even though I'm a consultant, I believe that it's very important for the people that will actually carry out those policies, those procedures to be carried along. I believe that it is important because the person who is going to most of these policies, the challenges that made for reviews and all of that is sometimes ambiguity. And when you have ambiguity, you have people acting differently in different ways. But when you carry them along, it's more explicit.
So hang on, Mr. Laja, what's your definition of carry along? So from what Otuni explained, he said that we don't need to have like a National Assembly. So suffice to say that we don't need to call like a town hall meeting. Everybody come and assemble. We want to do policy review. What do you think? What is your point? So, I mean, that's what he's saying, that the HR person is already there. So do you think we should call a National Assembly like this?
Really, not.
Or how do we carry them along?
I believe there should be representatives because no matter how the HR manager or HR personnel is equipped, he's not so equipped to talk for everybody. And then I believe that the staff and the employees, they have representatives, even in small organizations. You know, there should be a feedback mechanism that could engender people, you know, getting some feedback about some of these policies. And through that, you can now begin to, you know, aggregate whatever you come up with. And then that means they have a voice in whatever comes out.
So you say at the point of reviewing any policy, we should say different departments probably, or how do we get these reps?
From each of the departments, particularly they should get some feedback. Okay, this is what we're doing, and we believe it can be done better this way.
So I'll come. So let's just step back a bit. How do we come about policies? How do we even formulate policies? And maybe that will also shed light on, you know, where we will take the conversation to. So there are different stages of business life cycle. At the startup phase, the owners, the ideation, going to the implementation phase, maybe even when they want to start, they don't even have maybe staff at that point. But from even when you want to recruit, you already have policies, you want to recruit those human beings. So at that point, the employees are not even there then. But you have to have your even policies at the beginning of your business. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay, so let's look at that point. So you tell me how we will bring people in to have their input at that point. Then as the business is progressing, different things will happen. People review policies for different reasons. Times changes, new things that they didn't see initially will come up, then they have to create a policy, or maybe new challenges or new opportunities, or it could be things external to the business that will make them to want to go back to shape their policy, either in order to conform or to address. So take for example, work from home policies. Some people now have started embracing it. Maybe they didn't have it before. But you see, the events of 2020 made a lot of people to say, oh, let's review this policy. So sometimes it could be internal happenings, it could be external happenings, it could be from different reasons. So let's look at it, Mr. Otuni. So you heard what Mr. Laja said. He said that they should have representatives. How feasible do you think that is? How viable is it to say maybe for an organization of a small business of 5 people, an accountant, the MD, one HR person, maybe, to now say, how do you think, how viable or how feasible to say, let's sit and reason together? That's one. Even for big organization, let's look at existing business plan. Do you think it's actually realistic?
Thank you very much. That will not be realistic. If you look at it from this perspective, from a small business, for every business that comes to an existence, there's a vision that the business wants to actualize in the course of time. So the policy will be in agreement with the vision. Also, just as you have said, with some other external forces, talk about the law of the land and also other
labor law, all those kind of.
Yes, and also other ongoing happening in the society. But another fundamental thing is the experiences from a small business. They've gone through so many experiences, challenges in the course of the business. Also, this change, shaping how the policy will be changed over time. So now, as the organization is growing, we have the staff suggestion box, where they are feelers that what is supposed to have been made known. Some people will not even be so emboldened because they don't want their face to be marked. They want to express some things to the management. This suggestion box, because if the only thing we should stress is if and only if the management is sincere in implementing all these things. So the same voice my colleague here is pushing that they must be heard, will also be written through that suggestion box, and it should be listened to, and it will be taken. Thank you.
So they don't need to call a town hall meeting. They can as well drop their suggestions in, or talk to HR. I'll come to HR because sometimes some people may not want to even talk to the HR officer. So it's like, but did you hear? So he's saying that that there may be a lot of constraints. Sometimes what they want is not what may probably move us to the next phase because of our past experience. But people want their flexibility. Okay, so I'll come to you, but quickly, let's go to the streets to even hear what the people on the streets are saying about this topic. We'll be right back.
I think the company or the board should actually carry the staffs along, because this review you're doing is something that's going to be affecting the staffs one way or the other, directly or indirectly.
Probably like a month's notice shouldn't be a bad idea.
Whichever which way they say it. Now the company also can say they have the right not to involve the staff.
Whatever notice, even when it comes to probably, we have some staff, maybe probably they don't always go, maybe due to financial constraint and all that. And you want to change their policy based on that. At least, whatever staff or whoever is involved in that, you need to let he or her know that, okay, we want to change policy on some things, even generally, even on environment, even with staff boss.
But I think it is the best interest for the company to also involve the staff.
You should let your staff know prior to when the policy will start, at least a minimum of 3 weeks or a month before that time.
Okay, so welcome back from the street. You heard what those gentlemen said, and you heard what the people on the street said. And I find very fascinating, Mr. Laja. So I was supposed to continue with you. The one that said that you should let staff know at least 3 weeks to 1 month. So is that viable? I mean, if you look at the cost implication, if you look at the time impute, do you think really that's really viable to have? And what if they don't agree with your policy? What's going to happen?
Well, I still feel strongly that irrespective of what, if the organization is gearing towards increase, gearing towards growth, towards enlargement, there must be that opportunity to talk, opportunity to review. More so, we are talking about reviewing, not necessarily saying we are formulating. Now, yes, there will be cost implication. Of course, there will be time implication as well, and it might disrupt a bit of the business, going forward. But it is something that needed to be done so that the business itself can move forward. And that's why I believe that it is very pertinent to engage with the employees in any formal, any review of policy or of procedure.
Okay, so let me take it. Let's look at the different roles now. So, on this show, like we typically would say, there's no fixed position, so nobody is labeled. We're just speaking from different perspectives. So it's not that that's their fixed position. So Otuni here, for example, is talking from the point of what would probably be on the mind of management and maybe HR people, why they may not want to do a town hall meeting. And Mr. Laja, on the other hand, is saying that, you see, this is why I think you should carry staff along. So it's not that anybody here has a fixed position, but now putting on those different caps, Otuni, why do you think employees really want to be carried along in whether policy formulation, whether policy review, whether it is from external? Because sometimes it is external, they don't have a say really. If it is regulatory, you know, right? If it is regulatory, but they still say inform us 3 weeks, even though government has already said this is what you must do, but they are saying don't do it, so come and tell me first before you start implementing that thing that government said you must do. Do you understand? Even if it is not government, even if it is you, they are saying no, you can't just say we want to reduce the number of staff. You know, yes, there's consultative approach to engaging, but some things are policy driven. Okay, so why do you think they really want to be carried along? So maybe if we look at it from that perspective, we can even find a meeting point as we round up.
Thank you very much. I think one thing that could be the fear of the employee is to actually resist any anti-people policy.
Okay.
So looking at that,
even if it is not beneficial to the organization, as long as
yes,
it's that type people.
They've got an average employee. Yes, an average employee will pursue his or her own interest first, and which is against one of the principles of management, which is the principle of the organization should be first for everyone that's within the organization. So I think that's one thing that the employee want to.
Why would management want to do that?
I don't think the management will just want to package something and put to them. We are talking about reviewing of policy. Before we review the existing policy, some things must have gone wrong. Maybe in the previous operation of there are some lapses that were noted. That then we want to, those who have been from observation from staff as well, or from people from outside.
Okay, so thank you so much, Otuni. So you heard what you think the fears of the staff might be. You know, why they want to be in the picture of whether your review or formulation, and what the concerns of management might be also. So from your point of view, what do you think will be the concerns of management and the concerns of the employee?
Well, majorly, the two people, or the two parties must be seen to be working in synergy. And for that reason, there will always be, well, I wouldn't call it so much of mutual suspicion, but the organization want the best, and then the employees also want the best for themselves. And but why it is important to ensure that there is some level of consultation is to ensure that everybody puts their card on the table, and you are able to say, okay, this we can do, this we cannot do, and then when that happens, the employees will buy into the policy review, and then the organization will be the better for it. So it's a win-win situation. It should be really in practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So on that note, we'll try to round up. The conversation continues actually, because we can't exhaust it. You know, like we said, this is just a teaser of what we want to talk about on this topic. So you can come online with us, okay? We've heard what people from the streets said. We've heard what Mr. Laja and Mr. Otuni have said, okay? And you know, you heard their point. So in some ways, they're saying, oh, there might be mutual suspicion. But if we come together and say that management really wants what works for the business, employees want what protects their interests, You see? So the middle point will now be, how do we come together to make sure that we have a win-win situation? So typically, that's what we now need to leave you with to think about. And we're taking this conversation online to continue how we can have that win-win situation. So thank you, everyone. So you can follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. We take further comments, on this particular interesting topic as we continue the discussion online. So, all right, that's our show for today. It's been a pleasure having you both here.
Thank you.
And it's been an interesting show to discuss policy review and formulation, whether we should carry employees along, we should call a national assembly like Mr. Otuni said, or management should just look at what has worked in the past, and just come and engage them afterwards. So should it be before or should it be after? Or can we have a midpoint? Can it be on a situational basis? Can it be on a case-by-case basis? But we need to actually work together because they will be the ones that we use it. So thank you so much, everyone. Join us next week for another fresh episode of this show, HR Tackles. Remember to check our vacancies that we are also posting. We'll post vacancies both after this my conversation and online. So follow us to get more. And again, this is Lipo's channel. Enjoy the rest of the day. Be value adding and be productive. See you next time.